Emelia Arthur, I have gone through your CV, and before you took your oath, I had told you that I had read your CV. Before I get into some specifics, share with Ghanaians all that life has taught you. Share with Ghanaians.
Thank you. Life has taught me a number of things, both from the academic world, from practice, and just from experience, and how life happens to one. So, for example, though my first attempt at representing the people of Shama was 24 years ago, I waited and worked patiently towards it, and 24 years later, I am a member of this house representing the people of Shama. In that period, I can write a book. Academically, after University of Science and Technology, I took an interest in community development because my national service posting took me to a community where there was real poverty that you could actually see and describe poverty. But the 1 year of national service there changed some things for me, after which I decided then not to pursue my line of training, but so I'd rather go into community development. So I started working with an NGO that was called Center for the Development of People, because I thought that was where change would occur and human dignity could be restored. After a while, I thought, where can this be? So I went into consulting, and I consulted widely for DFID, USAID, for German Development Services. I consulted widely in the hope that I could influence development organizations, programs for my country, Ghana, and the people of Ghana. And then I asked myself, I'm not sure I'm seeing the change that I want to see. So I asked where the change would be, and I thought it was politics. So in 1998, I returned to full-time political work, still going along with my consultancies. In the process, I was admitted to Yale University as a Yale World Fellow. It was actually structured as a postgraduate program. I've been to India. I did a research, 3-month research at Institute of Applied Manpower Research. All I'm saying is that as Emelia Arthur, life has taken me through local work, communities. Life has taken me through working at regional level, Africa region level, globally, and almost every corner of the world. And that when you wait, good things happen. And that also, when you actually focus on bringing change to people's lives, it might be painful, but then eventually it happens. I am a happy girl that life has brought me where I am today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But let me say that you have to be brief in your response.
Previous world diversion issues, and then about can I have?
Now, on your CV, page 1, 3I, languages spoken and written. Do you speak Fanti?
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
But you have here that you speak English, Twi, and Ga. Would you want to amend your record with the leave of the chair?
Yes, please. I would like to amend it to I speak English, Akan, and Ga.
Thank you very much. Proceed to do the changes.
Why don't you? Why? Look, let's educate ourselves. I mean, it's good. It's not when you say that you. Let's educate ourselves.
Let me take it up with you. Akan Is it a tribe or a language?
I said I can because then I would just shorten it, because then I would say Fanti, I would say Tree, I would say Equiapim Tree, I would say Asante Tree, but then I can't cover all. But I take your instruction. I'll change it to I speak English, Tree, Fanti, and Gan.
Thank you very much.
So, would you also want to amend your record to reflect that you only speak these languages? I mean, the tree. Do you write the tree?
I can write. Please.
Do you write it? Did you study tree? And you can write tree?
I did not study tree, but as a Methodist girl, they taught us Fanti reading and writing, Fanti Bible, so I can write.
So you can write Fanti?
Yes, please.
Can you also write tree?
Yes.
But there's no problem. Let's be very specific, honest answer. For Fanti, you say Methodist. Methodist, Fanti, that's fine. You can write Fanti, can you?
I can, please.
Can you write tree?
You can.
Yes, I can write tree.
Very well. I won't belabor. You share a bit of your story. You said 1998 you got into active politics. Tell us, what political party did you join in 1998?
Thank you very much. So prior to 1998, I had been a member of the NDC party, but not working actively. In 1998, when I decided that I wanted to get into where there was real opportunity for change, I investigated the grounds, and there was a movement that was starting within the NDC called the Reform Movement. So I joined the Reform Movement with the hope of bringing some changes within the NDC party. Eventually, Reform Movement became a national reform party, and I joined it fully. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
So your entry into active partisan politics was with National Reform Party?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So in the year 2000, were you the candidate for the National Reform Party?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
In the year 2004, were you the candidate for the National Reform Party?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
What of 2008?
2008, I was not a parliamentary candidate. By 2008, all of us reform had returned to the NDC, and we worked with the NDC party towards winning the 2008 elections.
In 2009, were you given any political appointment?
In 2009, His Excellency Professor John Ivan Sata Mills, may he so rest in peace, appointed me as the District Chief Executive of the Shama District. Thank you.
And you occupied that position for how long?
I occupied that position for 18 months, Mr. Chairman.
What happened thereafter, politically?
They said I was too good for a district, so they took me to the region and made me the Deputy Western Regional Minister. Thank you. And thereafter in 2013, my apologies, sir. And thereafter in 2013, I was appointed to the office of the President when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was President as a presidential staffer. Thank you.
Don't take it personal. I'm just laying a foundation for the next question. Before us now, what are you here for?
I am here as the Minister Designate for Fisheries and Aquaculture.
What is the NDC's policy on fisheries?
The NDC's policy on fisheries covers the different aspects of fisheries. Marine fish, actually we have capture fisheries and culture fisheries. When we say capture fisheries, we are referring to two types, marine fisheries and inland fisheries. And when we talk about culture fisheries, we are talking about aquaculture. So let me take marine fisheries. Marine fisheries, we have three types as well. We have the artisanal, the canoe owners, and we have semi-industrial, and we have industrial. One of the main things that worries the artisanal fishers, particularly those both in marine and inland, is premix. The premix have had problems, management of premix in terms of supply, in terms of how often they get it, in terms of prices. And so NDC is saying that when we assume office, which we have done now, we will improve the premix supply. The other aspect of premix is that landing beach committees are supposed to be set up. The landing beach committees comprise 7 members. The premix, as we all know, is subsidized, but there's a profit margin on it. When the premix is sold, the profit margin of 47% is supposed to go to the premix landing committee. But
Emelia, are you still on policy?
I'm still on policy. Premix policy is what I'm talking about. Can I please go on?
Go on.
Thank you. So the point is on premix. The policy of premix is to continue premix as is, as was, but especially make it available and on time, and also ensure that profit margin on premix, the 53% particularly that is supposed to go to communities for community development, happens. That's one policy around premix.
We'll stay a bit on premix and then come to the marine fishing thing, some aspect of it. So let's stay here a bit. The premix, you talked about challenges with it, the lack of transparency in the distribution and all. Have you become aware of the solar outboard motors?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Would you agree with me that in view of the subsidy costs to government, the way to go is to promote the solar outboard motor?
I may not agree with you in total because it's an area that I think we must explore further scientifically. Now, I understand the point you make about the subsidy on premix becoming expensive for government or a burden for government. But if we look at it, it's the other way. If the premix policy is implemented as it's supposed to be, the 53% profit that goes into community development, some build schools, some build chips compounds. If the chips compounds are not built, central government will have to build them anyway. So the money central government will spend to build those development projects are covered by the profits from the premix. So the area of advanced technology, exploring solar and things are areas that I'm open to understand some more and see what is possible. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, do you think that it is still sustainable to subsidize premix fuel in view of your government's policy of repealing taxes and levies and all? You know, there's a little bit of background. The repeal of these levies, these taxes at the ports, your government says that it's going to help importers. They are going to have a good day, and they're expectant. The mainstream e-levy is going to go and all, which means that revenue coming in would go down. At the same time, you are going to subsidize premix fuel, and you are a bit hesitant on technology because you think that you have to hasten slowly and all. Do you think that this premix subsidy business is sustainable and that your fisher folks will have these on time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
There came a time that this premix fuel had to be colored. They dropped some color in it so that people will not smuggle it. Were you aware at the time they were having this challenge?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you intend to repeat the same strategy to stop the smuggling?
Mr. Chairman, when I get there, I will explore and find the best means of getting things done properly. Thank you very much.
Now, Honorable Nominee, I'll give you a background to my question and then put the question to you. In 2015, the then Minister of Finance appeared before the Finance Committee, of which I was a member then, and capped a loan facility that had earlier been procured in somewhere 2011, the famous CDB loan. That CDB loan had a portion for landing beach projects. And the NDC government did some capping. And the capping that was done was to take away landing beach projects out of it. So the 3 billion we're going for, government decided that it was no more pursuing the landing beach projects. Our people call it WAF, you know, bridge, water, etc. They call it by all manner of names. I want to know from you, how you intend to continue the construction of those 14 or so landing beach projects that the new government that inherited the NDC government, I mean the Akufo-Addo government, 2017 to 2025, saw to the construction of 14 landing beach projects. Some have been commissioned, some have not been commissioned. What plans have you, as a sector minister, in ensuring that all these uncompleted landing beach projects are completed?
Thank you very much. We will review the projects as you have mentioned. We will review the sources of funding. Where we need to attract more funding, look for more funding, we will find the funding either from GOG or from our development partners. Thank you.
Well, just for the avoidance of doubt, so that we don't appear hypothetical, Government of Ghana procured full funding for all these projects. In fact, government came to Parliament and Parliament actually approved everything, the commercial agreement, all the loans, all that government needed to do this project, was approved. I'm just giving you the information so you can pursue it. By the way, were you part of the policy on fisheries?
Honorable Leader, is the money still there?
This issue of policy.
The money, is it still there?
You have to pass through cabinet.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, my question was very clear. We must not have give and take at the head of the table. Government approved a loan. This was a structured facility.
That's transport.
The contractor will have to access the fund upon submission of certificate. We all know in this country how construction payment is structured. You do get your certificate and you submit whichever stage you are paid. So it's not a matter of the money is there or not. There's a loan that we procured and same has been disbursed. So if she says that she would pursue it, that's fine. But I want to know from the honorable nominee on these landing beach projects. It was originally under Transport Ministry. It was originally under the Transport Ministry. There is a new government with its own policy initiatives. Would you be happy to pursue getting the facility and the supervision of these landing beach projects under your ministry?
I think this would be a matter for cabinet discussion.
Now, the NDC manifesto, the policy on fisheries, were you part of the enactment?
No, I wasn't. I was a member of many other committees except that one. Thank you.
So, by the way, do you have the manifesto with you?
I do not have a copy, but I have what we said in the manifesto under fisheries here.
Share with us.
Okay.
The specifics.
Okay. So we said that we will collaborate with landing beach committees and leverage technologies to combat corruption in the distribution of the premixed fuel. We will establish a Blue Economy Commission to sustainably harness and regulate our marine and freshwater resources.
Of the first point. The first point.
Collaborate with landing beach committees, 350 of them, and leverage technologies to combat corruption in the distribution of the premixed fuel.
That is a policy?
Yes. And that relates to the automation and other things that we will come out with.
Policy must pass through cabinet. I don't know where.
What I want to know is that what you've just read to the committee, is that the policy?
It is what we said we would do, out of which, yes, policy statements can clearly emanate from that.
Yes.
Yes. I'm telling you, reading verbatim to you, what, Mr. Chairman, what the NDC manifesto said we will do under fisheries and aquaculture. So that is one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
My question is that what you just read out to us, is that a policy? That was my question, respectfully.
Yes.
What is policy?
Please proceed. If that is your policy, proceed.
The next one is establish a Blue Economy Commission to sustainably harness and regulate our marine and freshwater resources. The next one is to enhance aquaculture through improved fish genetics, commercial fingerling production, strengthened quality assurance, and disease control.
Let's stay there. Let's stay there. So on this third one, how do you hope to implement this?
As we know, aquaculture is extremely important since fisheries provide 60% of protein for Ghanaians, but our marine and inland fish resources are depleting. So we need to enhance aquaculture. Currently, I think we have only 6 or so large aquaculture, 6 large-scale farms, 14 medium-scale, and a lot, 2,300 small-scale aquaculture farms. So one of the things that we intend to do is to support, attract, direct, facilitate funding for operators of aquaculture farms. Also, one of the very expensive things that affects aquaculture is the feed, because the inputs into feed are imported and it makes the feed very, very expensive. So linked to and in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, we will look at how to produce especially maize and soya bean in Ghana, just for the aquaculture subsector of fisheries. We also want to invest into research, especially around disease control, so far as aquaculture is concerned. So these are some of the things that we intend to do to support the growth of aquaculture for jobs and for prosperity, especially for our young people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, to the Ghanaian youth listening to you now, this is very assuring. What timelines would you want to provide?
Mr. Chairman, if it pleases the House, then I'm approved. And it pleases the President to keep me for 4 years. I have 4 years under the President's instruction and direction to implement this. But when I get to the office, then I'll work out the timelines, because I cannot be saying things that I do not have the concrete facts for. Thank you.
Will 3 months be enough for you to work out the timelines?
3 months to work out timeline? Yes, please.
That's fair. Now, you know the poverty levels along our coast. How do you look forward to creating opportunities for women in the area of fishing?
Thank you very much. As we all know, women really dominate the fisheries sector. Men own canoes. Some women own canoes as well, but men go fishing, and when they bring the produce, it's the women who take over. They process the fish into the different smoked fish, fried fish, what have you. And sometimes they are faced with the problem of capital funding. And so linked with the establishment of the Women's Development Bank, we are hoping that small loans will be given to the women, the fishmongers, so they improve their work. We are also looking at processing centers. Even in the area of aquaculture, we are looking at perhaps big investment in creating aquaculture farms where there's cold storage, where there's cold vans, where there's easy market. You bring suppliers and buyers together. All of those things are important. Now, one other thing that's extremely important to support women who are into fishing, fishmongers, is actual markets, physical markets. So in my constituency, for example, Shamar constituency, there's big postal markets there. And every Tuesday and Friday, they bring their produce there, but the market needs to be rebuilt like we did Kedetia market. So if we did that, lots of the women also take their fish to Techiman, for example. So if Techiman markets are rebuilt and things like that, then we are supporting the women so that they become economically much more empowered than they are now, and they support socially as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, I shall bring my questions to an end at this point. and wish the nominee very well. Thank you very much indeed.
I will now give the floor to Honorable Patrick Bowman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member and a veteran politician. Congratulations. I want us to go to the European Union's ban on Ghana. I'm sure you know about it, the yellow card, you're aware. Fact is that this ban came about as a result of the illegal, unreported, and unregulated, that's the IEU, that's using vessels on the high seas to do some transportation, which is $1 billion business. How strong are you going to be to get us out of this ban in the face of the fact that you have strong fisher communities who are involved in some of these activities? Can we hear from you on this and the steps you're going to take? Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you rightfully said, IUU, standing for illegal, unreported, and unregulated activities in fisheries, have earned
a yellow card. Now, EU outlined a number of things that need to be sorted out so that the yellow card will be lifted. It is my understanding that those activities have begun, one of which is to review the law on fisheries, Act 625, and apparently a bill was even brought to the last parliament. As it is now, the bill probably has to be withdrawn and reworked. In the Act 625, the law is quite quiet on inland fisheries and aquaculture. And so I'm told by the Ministry of Fisheries that work has already begun in correcting those things that EU raised. That is one, the law. And then what's something they call Minister's Directive. So steps are already underway, and I pledge to move very quickly on addressing the issues to make EU take off the yellow card from Ghana. Because you see, the yellow card is affecting especially the industrial fishers who catch and export tuna, and which brings in a lot of money, nearly $400 million or so to Ghana. So we have to do the right things so that the trade will go on and the foreign exchange too will come. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable, we have about 550 kilometers of coastline from Aflao to Alubo. We also have a lot of river bodies. You and I know that the river bodies, most of them have been contaminated by illegal activities. Legal mining, mercury and all those chemicals have been used to the extent that fish from those rivers that we revere so much cannot be eaten. We cannot get the number of fish stock that we used to. What are some of the strategies your ministry is going to put in place, especially with mining in the river bodies, which will be under your control? Obviously, as fisheries and aquaculture, you are not going to focus so much on the sea, but also on our rivers, Stanop, Pra, and Cobra, Densu, Brim, and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is one of the issues that would be that will require an intersectoral approach. It would have to be with the Ministry of Fisheries, Environment and Science and Technology, Lands and Natural Resources. It would have to be with even maritime comes under which ministry? Transports. with Ministry of Transport. It has to be an intersectoral approach, and it has to be that has a cabinet, even task team, because like you said, Galamsey has destroyed the water bodies and even entered the sea. I come from the place where River Pra meets the sea, the estuary. When you see what is happening now, it's deadly. So, and I remember His Excellency John Mahama has said that we would like to tackle this issue head on. I am told, I myself belong to a scientific body that are trying to do work in how they can take away the pollution from this river body. So I'm expecting that we will work together with all the other ministries to make this happen so that the aspect that relates to us, particularly aquaculture, will be able to do it well. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, before I go to my next question, I saw in your manifesto the Blue Economic Commission. What is that? Please.
Thank you very much. We want to look at fisheries and aquaculture in broad terms. And so now there is the concept of blue economy, and blue economy refers to sustainably exploiting ocean, sea resources for economic growth, livelihoods, jobs, and what have you. So we want to look at fisheries and aquaculture just beyond just people going to fish, catching fish and selling. We want to look at fisheries and aquaculture in a broader sense. And blue economy refers to or has many components, and one component is fisheries, the other component is bioprospecting, the other component is mining under the sea and all of those things. Now, what we want to do with Fisheries is to set up a Blue Economic Commission that will be working to look at how we situate fishing beyond the narrow sense that we see it now. So we will be establishing the Blue Economic Commission.
Different from the Fisheries Commission, that is a regulator?
Yes, yes. So now the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture has only two agencies, Fisheries Commission and the Premix Secretariat. If this comes on board, then we are going to have a third one called the Blue Economic Commission. And who knows, maybe when it's set up and we begin to go into it, we'll realize that maybe we have to merge or something. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Don't worry, we'll go to the regulation aspect. Let's look at your regulations. Fisheries Commission, you have an enabling act. You have a commissioner, I believe so, and a board. I want you to look at the licensing regime. Madam Arthur, you say Ajay, what is Ajay about? The question. You don't know the question. You don't worry, don't look at the act. It's just a straightforward question. What steps, some of the steps you are going to take to ensure that the licensing of vessels and operators within your space are done with utmost transparency? Because a lot of Ghanaians do complain that vessel licenses are issued to, I don't want to mention countries. And I want to ask you whether you are going to be fair to Ghanaians other than, I don't know. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I think the four gentlemen to my left have answered the question for me. Thank you very much.
Chairman, I asked a very important question, and I need an answer from the nominee, not from the praise singers on your left.
Mr. Chairman, we will be fair. We will be equitable. Whoever is deserving of a license, following due process, will get a license. But also, we will have to see the traffic. If it's too choked, then people will have to wait for later. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Arthur, let's do two more and I'm sure you'll be discharged. Let's look at safety. Our children at fish landing sites, river bodies, not going to school. Come on, we've come a long way as a country. We need to get all our kids in school. I'm sure if you go to Abuesi or Abuaze in your area, I know that. Because I did my national service around you, Dabuasi, in 1993, many years ago. So I know your area very, very well. So, yeah. So, Honorable Arthur, I know before, so you stand on River Pra, you look and the color has changed. The children at fish landing sites not going to school, putting their lives at risk. Please, tell the country something about what you intend doing to assist.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is true that children who should be in school sometimes are not in school, but it is also a fact that quite a decent number of them go to school. But there are issues relating to education that as a nation we have to look at. When the classroom blocks are not enough, when a classroom that should take 25 takes 100, when one teacher is teaching 5 subjects, then it is difficult to have control over the kids, and the kids run away. When our education curriculum is not structured around what the kids know and do, then they lose interest. So this requires a comprehensive, holistic approach to getting our children who should be in school to be in school. The kid watches his mother who has never been to school smoke fish. The woman who has never been to school knows that if she puts a certain quantity of firewood under a tall stack of fish, they all cook at the same time, not one is burnt. The physicists tell me that is thermodynamics. Why is it that the kid is learning about in school, in physics, and not learning what he or she sees his or her mother do every day and every time? So there are things that we must do to make education interesting for those kids to go to school and stay in school. Also, we have to do scholarship schemes to get them to stay in school and be interested in school. And therefore, I am saying to the whole of Ghana that we will be extremely creative. We will work with different models in different parts of the communities in the coastal districts to get our children interested in school, go to school, and stay in school. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. A very good answer. Honorable Arthur, my last question. Very last question. I promise you. I know you to be a firebrand politician. I saw you during the launch of the Reform Party in Lagos, very long time ago. Yes. Then you reformed and you've reformed and you are here. Today you are very sober and we like your composure. What do you want the fisheries sector or subsector and Ghanaians to remember you for? Not forgetting the fact that President Akufo-Addo appointed Afolekwe, a woman, to that ministry. Mrs. Asma, may her soul rest in peace, was there. Gladys Asma, under President Kufuor. Then came the almighty Howard Kumsin, a late Shariaite. Then Howard Kumsin, former MP Kaswa, Ewutu Senior East. You are taking the seat, God willing. What do you want the country to remember you for? The next year, 2 years, you never know what President Mahama will do, whether to reshuffle you. But between now and when the next reshuffle is done, what do you want us to remember you for, Honorable Arthur? Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you very much. But by the grace of God and the support of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that I, Emelia Arthur, was the Fisheries Minister, under whose regime fisheries production went up, and that indigenous knowledge was respected and integrated with scientific knowledge in improving fisheries in this country. And also that it was under me that the long-awaited Fisheries College that we started in 2013 became operational. But you see, the indigenous knowledge part is very important to me, because you see, our fishers have knowledge. Some of them have been fishing 12 years, 15 years, 30 years. In fact, when they go to sea, for example, they can see that, in the Nsuwa Kwefutu, Chede, on Chi, Wunyanam, and then the Nsuwa Pado, Okado no Chede, what will Papa will be Yanam? Why are we not paying attention to that? They were also like stargazers. Our fishermen could follow a star and use a star to navigate like a compass. Of course, today, because of technology, different things are going up there, so you might see something you might think is a star, but it's a capsule hanging in there. But I think that importantly, we have to marry indigenous knowledge and scientific knowledge in coming to whatever policies that we bring in the fisheries sector, with the sole aim of improving fisheries in this country. Thank you very much.